It looks good to me.
Somebody was telling me it was their favorite shirt that I had.
Really? It looks good to me. Was that you with both lights?
Yeah, I have both of them on.
Actually, yeah, it does look. It's definitely brighter, and it looks less pixelated. I think this is going to be less pixelated. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Well, okay. Well then, top of the evening to you.
Top of the evening to you too.
We did have a nice meeting.
Yes.
You know, it was good. I guess did you catch any of it, like the one we had tonight?
No, I did talk to Al and Greg, and they said it was a good meeting.
Oh, so you talked to them after it was over, after Lynn had gone, huh?
Yes.
Great, okay. Whoa. Well, I want you to... Now, you've been keeping prions out of all of your bodies every day, am I right?
Yes.
Prions, sorry.
Prions, yes.
I just can't get it right. You know, I keep saying prions, which are subatomic particles, when I mean prions, which are inappropriately folded proteins.
Right.
Test if prions have a directed intelligence.
Yes.
And have they ask if MS has ever influenced your thoughts?
I get it's not a very strong signal, but it looks like a yes.
Have you ever thought to ask that before? Or have you ever had that idea before that might be happening?
I have had that idea because I know depression and all of that is related.
Well, test this question. Is any of the depression I've experienced related to prions influencing my mood?
Yes.
Or how about to MS influencing my mood? You get no on that.
I get no on the MS, but yes to the prions.
Okay. Okay. I want you to demonstrate checking your bodies for them. Now, just check your bodies for them out loud. Start with the bodies that it'd be the most likely to find them in.
No, I always find them in my celestial body.
Okay.
Do I have any prions in my celestial body? Yes.
Okay, remove them.
Okay. I am now removing prions from my celestial body. It's not as much action as it was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably a good thing, right?
Yes. It still takes a minute or so.
But that would definitely be a good thing if there isn't as much action.
Okay. Are there any prions in my gravitational body? Nope. Are there any prions in my spiral body? Yes. I am now removing prions from my spiral body. I am now removing all prions from my spiral body. It's not as bad as the celestial body.
Okay, and this is what it looks like to cure MS.
Yes.
Or at least part of...
Part of it.
Yeah. Go on to the next one.
Okay.
See what you get.
All right. Are there any prions in my astral body? Yes. I am now removing all prions from my astral body. Okay, that's going to go for a minute.
Good.
Now, I just want to let you know, I was clearing this out. I cleared it out maybe a couple of hours ago, and they're back.
So you're getting them. There's something, your celestial body seems to feel like it needs them. That's why it gets them, accepts them, takes them in.
So how do I stop that? Just keep clearing them out?
Well, that's one thing, but see, that's also what all the other lessons are for. Remember when you were testing that trauma removal was
Right.
an important part of this, and trauma removal has a profound effect on the celestial body.
Okay. Okay.
Test this question. Ask if the celestial body is one of the seats of trauma. Like where
One of the seats of trauma?
yeah, where trauma sits, where it lives, where
Oh, okay.
it's home.
Is the celestial body seats of trauma? I get a strong yes on that one.
So we're seeing some of what it's like to be curing this.
Yes.
I want to tell you a story now.
Okay.
This is a story about another woman who had MS, who didn't cure it. Now, can you see why it would be good to hear about somebody who didn't cure it?
Yes. So I know what not to do.
What not to do, or what, you know, what that would, just what that would
What
look
that
like.
looks like.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the year is 1998, and we had just gotten our password system up and put the college on the web. I do not remember this woman's name, but she was the first person who ever got a password for the web college.
Okay.
I think. There may have been one or two before her. I can't remember actually, but she was certainly one of the first, and it was in the first month or so of having the web college have passwords. And so, of course, I became very interested in her, especially when I heard that she had a potentially lethal disease. And so I called her on the phone. And one thing led to another, and we were doing a session. And I didn't know much about how curing things worked back at that time. it was sort of like the Webb College was all these pieces that were, you know, for one thing, we didn't have a lot of the lessons then that we have now. Mm-hmm. But we also did have a lot of the ones we have now, because we have a lot of lessons. So we have a lot now, and there were a lot then. There may have only been half the number, but that was still a lot, you know. 500 is a lot of lessons, and so is 1,000, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You know, if somebody comes in here and looks and they see 5 lessons, that's a lot to them, you know, and that usually they see 5 lessons on one of the lesson pages they click on, so, you know, and that's in a directory of other lessons, that's a subdirectory of another directory of lessons, and
right, where does it end?
Yeah, where does it end? You know, it's this gigantic dragon eating its tail, you know. Anyway, but see, all that, the lessons were all like fragmented. They were just all over the place.
Okay.
You know, like I didn't connect trauma with MS and so on. You know, the idea I had was people should just cure whatever was wrong with them and probably it'd all work out. And I didn't realize what people have in the way of doing that. So I was on the phone with her and I came up with what I had done with Edith Huber. Edith Huber was the first person who I ever cured of a lethal disease. As far as I remember, she was in very serious trouble. It was her second cancer, and she was 67 years old, and her doctor gave her around a 40% chance of survival, and she cured that with flying colors. And all we did was just take the cancer out of her bodies, just like what you were just doing. But what I didn't realize is that we did a lot more than that. It's just that I didn't see it that way. Like Edith came to one of our early courses. She did like hundreds of things for herself with IMMUNICS. It's just that, like, I wasn't observing her closely enough. It's kind of like me, like, see, when I started showing people how to cure their herpes, I thought all you had to do was just take herpes out of your bodies and it'd be gone. It seemed logical to me. You know, you kill it in all the bodies and then you don't have it anymore. It's logical, right? Mm-hmm. It's the allopathic medicine paradigm.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's just not real. So, see, what I didn't realize was I was curing thousands of different things. Herpes was one tiny, minor little backwater of things that I cured. And I didn't cure herpes until I'd been doing this for 4 months. I didn't even know you could cure a disease, a medically defined disease. Like I was trying to cure feelings and spiritual problems and stuff, and doing very well at that, I might add. But I was feeling good, you know, I made myself happy.
Okay.
And then I didn't realize for years, like I kept showing people how to cure herpes and they failed. You know, they didn't exactly fail. Some of them actually did cure it. But whether they stopped having outbreaks or not, I'm certain that they didn't go all the way to where there was no trace of it in them. Mm. And also, most of them stopped. They just wanted to stop with that. I mean, most people they don't want to cure the things that are wrong with them. You know, they don't want to know about them or cure them or think about them. And most people feel like they're doing fine with their lives just the way they are. No matter what that is.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, they can be the head of IBM or a pizza delivery person, you know, but the one thing that they have in common is that they feel like everything's great and they don't need anything. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know, like you talk to a lot of people like that, you tell them about this and they say, well, thanks, but I don't really need anything, I'm fine. Am I putting you to sleep here?
No. I'm reflecting on all the people that I've spoken to who they're like, no, they ask for help, but they really don't want it.
See, that's another thing. People come and overtly ask for help, and then they just disappear. Mm-hmm. It's like they don't say They don't even say like I'm sorry, I don't want help. They just disappear. You know, they're gone. You know.
Yeah.
So, That's why we have to keep the church door open. That's
For those who really are seeking help, and even if they're not, maybe they'll get something.
Well, if we keep the church door open, what that means to me is that the person can come and then they can leave, and then they can come back and then they can leave, and then they can come back again and they can leave, and it hopefully it won't bother us. Their comings and goings won't bother us.
Right.
So here was this woman, and I was on the phone with her, and I did, as I said, what I did with Edith, which was, you know, I just said to her, say I'm now taking MS out of my gravitational body. I didn't know about prions.
Okay.
A while later, I did test that a particle smaller than a virus was causing MS, that it was eating the person's nervous system. But I had not heard of prions until, you know, relatively recently, probably just a few years ago.
Okay.
So anyway, she took it out and she felt really different. She felt great. And I found that very encouraging. And then later she told me, I think it was the next day when I spoke to her, she told me what you had told me just now. She said that she found MS again. And I didn't know what to make of that, but I knew that she was going to find it. So I just told her to take it out again. And later that day, she went into a tailspin and had a debilitating attack of MS that completely overran her physical defenses, and she wound up in the hospital. I didn't hear from her for 3 weeks. And when I did hear from her, she told me she couldn't walk. It had crippled her. This was like the day after we first started killing it.
Okay.
And
so she only took it out twice?
Well, what happened was she said that she had decided that she was going to try some other approach. She didn't want to try what I had shown her anymore. And that she was...
she had stopped.
Yeah, she said that she was a disciple. She had already been into this other thing, you know, this Guru Mai Siddha yoga.
Okay.
It's called by the guru was Siddha, Guru Mai. Her guru was Muktananda. It was a big group and a lot of members. And she said that she was going to do that, and she felt that that was going to work. And she thanked me profusely for all my great efforts, and I said fine, and we parted company. And around 9 months later, we heard from her again. And she wasn't doing Siddha Yoga anymore. That hadn't worked. And she was now doing IMMUNICS again. She sent us an email about it or whatever. And at the time, I didn't see, right now we have a cure team. And you're one of the, you know, the mentors of the cure team. Like you're one of the governors of the cure team. And you talk to people and have meetings with people who do want help and who want to join the cure team and who want to help us. And what we've discovered is that people do better when they get involved.
Right.
So
it's like a call to action.
A call
They're
to
doing something, and then they feel the responsibility to do something for someone else, which comes back to them.
Yeah, then they feel like they have to do well to set a good example for the person they just talked to, who they were just, you know, talking about. Like you haven't been sick and you haven't had a cold in 9 months.
No.
I mean, you may still have MS, but you have done something just on the physical level for your body so that you don't get sick.
Right.
So you're sharing this with people, and maybe you're going to meet somebody with MS, you know, tomorrow, and you're going to be saying, well, you know, then you're going to be showing them how to cure it, and you're going to be saying, this is what I'm doing, and I haven't succeeded yet, but I have had results. I don't get the flu anymore, and so on. And then when you hang up on that thing, you're going to say, boy, this better work. Because that's what I was, you know, with my friends and the people I really cared about, that's what I was saying. I was going, oh, God, this better work, you know. Because
when I started doing it, I said, this better work.
Yeah, right, because I didn't know, maybe, I didn't even know I'd cured my herpes, even after 2 years of not having outbreaks.
Okay.
You know, and a lot of, like most of the people who've cured herpes, who have cured it, you know, are like that. Like they say, well, I'm still not sure, and that's the way I was. And so what we've learned is that when somebody starts, we invite them to join the cure team and to do the cure team activities, and we don't worry too much about whether they've cured anything or what they've cured. They can help.
Right.
We just tell them, okay, you can still help. And we also point out all the, whatever little tiny thing they cured, they've got to really own that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like, you know, well, I mean, you've made yourself feel good with this too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that...
I'm definitely in good spirits.
Yeah, so you were saying you feel the best you felt since you were, what was it? What were you saying the other day to me?
I don't remember.
Okay, but, well, anyway, you get the idea that...
Mm-hmm.
Making
in a long time.
Yeah, making yourself feel good is a very nebulous result. But it's real to you. And it needs to be. And like you need to give yourself full credit, because then you say, okay, well, if I succeeded with that, maybe I can succeed with this.
Right.
So what happened, what I saw happen to this woman, see, I didn't think it was a coincidence. I believe that the MS actually tricked me.
Ah.
That
How so?
That we had that session and she looked like she was curing it, and it lulled me and her into a false sense of security.
Mm.
And she started feeling pretty good, you know, over the next few hours, and then it just, it hit her with everything it had.
Okay.
And took her down.
So she wasn't ready for it, and it came and got her.
She wasn't ready for it. That's right. We did not. See, like, remember when you started and I told you this is going to be a lot of work. It's very hard work.
Yes.
And you're going to have to do it for a long time, and you're just going to have to pound away and be utterly vigilant, and you know, you have to do this all day, and you have to learn all these lessons and study all this stuff, and I did the opposite, the absolute opposite with her.
Mm. Okay.
You know, with her it was just like, oh, just take it out and it will go away, you know. It was
okay.
And
she wasn't ready. She didn't have her battle station set.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was that I looked like an absolute fool to her, obviously. Mm. And I was. I was a fool. I didn't just look like one, I was one. It was incredibly stupid of me to think that MS would just be this easy thing. It was ridiculous. Why would I think that a disease like that would be easy or simple to cure?
Right.
You know, looking back on it, see, I didn't realize how much work I had done in curing my herpes.
Okay.
I thought I just took it out of my bodies and it was gone. But I spent all day taking traumas out and positioning myself on the right dimension and adjusting my particle indexes and all these things. And I didn't think any of that was related to herpes. And I didn't ask her to do any of it. Mm. And almost everybody who comes in here, when they come in here and I say, oh, have you adjusted your particle indexes? And every last one of them says the same thing. They either say, what's that? Or they say, oh, I saw that, but it seemed like it was complicated and hard, and I didn't really
I
understand.
didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I didn't understand it, so I thought I'd put that on the back burner, you know? Or I say, what dimension are you on? And they say, oh, I really haven't gotten into dimensions yet.
Well, you're on one now.
Yeah, right. That's right. So I thought, actually, for, you know, to conclude our movie just now, that I would do something about dimensions, because you were asking about dimensions the other day.
Yes.
Do you happen to remember the question you asked?
Oh, I don't remember. I know that I want to know more about dimensions.
Well, I don't
remember the specific question, though.
Okay, neither do I, but I remember you asked about them, and I think it would be good for us to have something about dimensions. And what people always want to know about dimensions is a very simple thing, like what do dimensions mean, what are they, what are they like, what's the difference among them, you know, how do you know what one is or the other one is. And it came up when we realized that Meredith was on the 13th dimension.
13th. Mm-hmm.
And that she got a disability when she went to the 13th dimension. Even when she left the 13th dimension, she didn't lose the disability.
Right.
And you were saying, boy, I guess I better pay some attention to dimensions, because you can really hurt yourself.
Right.
You know? So I'm going to, first of all, I want you to test. Start with 3 and see where you get a signal. So you go 3, 4, 5, 6, like that, and see where you get a signal.
Okay.
And that will be your dimension that you're on right now. So go ahead, 3, 4, like that. Just do it at your own speed. And let me know. And you don't have to say it out loud either. Just let me know where you get a signal.
Okay.
Actually, maybe you should say it out loud. Start over. Let's see if that does anything.
Okay. Start over.
So 3.
Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
Ask, am I over the 40th dimension?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I could go on forever. Okay, am I over the 40th dimension? Yes.
Over the 50th?
Am I over the 50th dimension? Yes.
Over the 60th?
Over the 60th dimension? Yes.
70?
Over the 70th dimension? No.
Okay, so count
So
up.
I'm on 60 something. Okay. I'm over the 60th, so 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 65.
Okay, keep counting up. 66.
66, 67.
Get a signal?
66 I did, not 67.
Okay. All right.
68.
Okay, so stay there, stay there. So
Okay.
65th, 66th, just, you know, talk.
Okay, what do you want me to say? I'm here. I'd like to know what the 66th and 65th dimensions are all about, if I'm hanging around them. I don't know. Oh, I guess I could talk about what's going on with me.
Go ahead.
Let's see. Today I took out prions a lot today, and I took out MS once today. I've been doing really well, hanging out in the sauna. Gee, I got a lot done. I was really happy about that. I just had a really decent day. I was pretty happy with myself.
That's the 65th or 66th dimension.
Okay.
See, the thing about the dimensions, when you get much over the 27th dimension, the dimensions are not as, they're not as easily defined. Though,
okay.
What I was getting, like, test these things. See if you get a signal on work. How about healing?
Yes.
Okay. But not on work, right?
But not on work.
Yeah, well, you were talking about healing, curing, not work. So I would say that that area is it's related to healing.
Okay.
Test this question. Do I have a disability or impairment that's affecting me now that relates to the 65th or 66th dimension?
Not getting a signal.
Good. Well, then we've got just a, a clear read that you are, we're hanging around the 65th, 66th dimension, and that, probably you've been there all day since you chose to talk about all day.
Mm.
But this is the way you learn about dimensions. You test what dimension you're on first, and then you look at your thoughts.
Okay.
And I also have to say that maybe if since you were talking to me, that might have changed your thoughts a little bit. So maybe you didn't get exactly a complete or as clear a picture as you would have gotten of the 65th dimension as if you hadn't been talking to anybody and you just watched your thoughts and saw just what, like, free associated, and saw what popped into your head.
Okay.
Like when nobody is around, it's easier to do that. Because obviously, if I'm asking you questions, you're thinking about, like, what?
I'm thinking about your question.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the answer rather than just letting thoughts come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So jolly-o.
Yeah. So maybe I'll hang out in the 65th and 66th dimension tomorrow.
Well, I'll say, test it. I want you to test something else here.
Okay.
Does any negative beingness that I'm in key out when I'm assisting or doing cure team activities?
Yes. Before you finish the question, yes.
And do those things raise my dimension?
Yes.
Okay.
That was a strong yes.
And how about doing good things for myself, like going in the sauna and the kind of things you were talking about? Do those things also?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. What I've noticed...
My hand almost, woo!
People, like when people get attacked, like when another person attacks somebody, they tend to lower their dimension and go to a dimension where they think they can fight from. And, sometimes some people go to the 4th dimension or the 8th dimension and so on.
Okay.
I discovered the 13th dimension when I was watching a doctor who was in one of my seminars relate to her children. We were at the restaurant after the seminar ended. We were all having a farewell dinner. We were in Anaheim, and I was, her kids were playing, underneath the deck, sort of like in front of the deck.
Okay.
And by the ocean, and we were sitting with our feet up, and she was sitting there trying to control her kids. And I realized, I tested that she was on the 13th dimension.
Okay.
So that's
so what was she doing?
Well,
How was she trying to control them?
It's kind of hard to describe, but basically she was doing what you see Meredith do with her kids. And I just realized that, see, not everybody, in other words, the thing that put her on the 13th dimension was her children. The thing that puts Meredith on the 13th dimension was trying to help somebody.
Okay.
And the same with Nell. Nell goes to the 13th dimension when she tries to help people. And she probably does it less, but you have to realize, even if she goes there for a second, when she comes off it, she'll have a disability.
Mm-hmm.
So that can take
that was obvious.
Yeah, it can take all kinds of forms. So people who are just starting out can learn about the dimensions by, positioning themselves on them, or just like if you find yourself under stress at any point, test your dimension then.
Okay.
And see where it is, and then you'll learn, and then see what kind of thoughts you're having, and you'll learn about dimensions that way.
Okay.
And there's more lectures on them in the web college you can listen to.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Because that 13th dimension sounds really scary.
It's not as scary as the 8th dimension.
Oh, okay.
They used to say at my courses, in the journey up through the dimensions, don't stop for gas on the 8th dimension.
Okay. I'll remember that. I'll make sure that I have a spare gallon.
Oh boy. Well, it's been a real pleasure spending this time with you, and we'll do it again soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you feel like you actually do have you got a handle on how to learn about dimensions now?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, because that's
especially when I go through mood changes, and
yes,
that will definitely show me something.
Yes. Well, then my work here is done. I didn't think we could actually understand the dimensions, but I did think as we were talking that you could learn how to learn about them.
Yes. Definitely.
So now you have an approach to learning about them. Okay. Well, Renee, I'll see you at our interview tomorrow at 12:30.
All right.
Looking
forward to it.
With Wendy.
Wendy.
Yeah, looking forward to it. All right, I'll see you then.
All right.
Love you.
Have a good night.
Good being with you.
Same here.
And that is our movie. Now, I just want to say that if you want to speak to somebody, I would be available, possibly, and also my outgoing message on my phone does give instructions about how to start if you haven't started yet. So, or you can just, leave me a message and I'll get back to you. So please feel free to call me. I'd be happy to speak to you. And here's my number. It's 813-672-3419. And I hope you enjoyed this movie. And it's fine to call me up and just tell me how you felt about it.